Last time we have configured our player, or we have created his animations. Now what we are going to do is we need to apply a box collider and a rigid body to our player in order to simulate physics. And also here you can configure our sprite for the balls and go in the sprite editor and, well, simply slice it the same way we sliced our player, and you can slice the rocket the same way and then hit apply. And also here I've named this one rocket and this one is ball. Now what we are going to do is we are going to apply a box collider on our player. So select the player, go here in the inspector panel, click on add component, and click or filter here for the box. So simply type box and, well, apply box collider 2D on our player. Now this box collider is what is going to detect collision between our player and the balls, and I'm also going to apply a circle collider to our ball. So it makes more sense to apply a circle collider on the ball than a box collider. Now here we have our player, and this is the box collider surrounding our player, and this is going to detect collision. So if we, for example, touch the player right here, so if these two collide, we are going to have a collision. Now it makes no logic if the ball touches the player right here where we are pointing now that the player dies, or if the ball touches the player practically on his weapon that the player needs to die. So what we need to do is we need to tweak our box collider a little bit. So here in the inspector panel we can resize our box collider. So here I can resize it, I can offset it, so something like this. I can offset it, resize it, and I'm also going to resize it just a little bit on the y-axis, so something like this. And also, let me just put it on the y-axis, 0.7 or 0.54. Let me just go and see, let's say 0.7 like this. And practically this is what we need for our player. Or I can set it on 0.6 and simply move it down a little bit more on the y-axis. So we can tweak the offset, we can tweak, well, everything that we need here. So let me just see that I place them right on his feet. So let's say minus 0.056. Okay, so something like this will do. And also for the offset or the size on the y, let's say 0.6. Okay, we are ready to go. So this is our collider for our player practically. And we are also going to tag our player. So go here under tag, so under inspector, and tag him with the player. This is the default tag that comes with Unity. And we are also going to tag our balls, but that's going to be a little bit later. Now if we run the game, we see that we have our player and we have our ball. What I want to do is I want to apply physics on my player. In order to do that, we need to go here under get component, of course selecting the player in the hierarchy panel. Remember this, every time you want to apply a component on a certain game object, you need to select that game object first. So select the player in the hierarchy panel and filter here for rigid body and apply rigid body 2D. Now if I run the game, we will see our player falling. Why is that? Well, because we have applied physics, and physics has gravity, so gravity is pulling our player down. Practically, that's why our player is going down. In order to make our player stand, what we need to do, and I will go here under game object and create an image. This is going to be our background image. So here I'm going to say background image. This is just for simulation, and here for the canvas, I'm going to set screen space camera, attach the main camera, and I'm also going to set scale with screen size, and the default, well, or the reference resolution is 1280 by 720, match width and height equally. For our image, I'm going to set it at 00 for X and for the Y, and I'm going to filter for our background image. So this is our background image. What I'm going to do is we see that we have this like ground, like concrete below it. And I'm also going to just move it a little bit further down so that we simulate this concrete. So this is it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create an empty game object, and this is going to be our ground. So I'm going to simply name it ground, set the position at 00 for X and for the Y, and I'm going to apply a box collider on it, and I'm going to resize it. So size on the X axis is going to be like this, and I'm going to position it right here on this concrete just to simulate our ground practically. Now if I run the game, our player is going to stand on that concrete, practically simulating that this is, well, our ground. So that's for now. And now what we need to do is we need to tweak our ball. And here we have a white ball, and I have made it like this on purpose because now we can click on the color here for the sprite render and we can tweak the color. So we can make a black ball, I don't know, a blue ball, we can make whatever you like it. So I'm going to make it a blue ball. And we are going to have, well, around 5 or 6 balls, I believe. And we also need to apply a rigid body on our ball. So rigid body 2D, filter it and apply it on our ball. And now this is going to be our largest, so largest ball like this. And also here for the tag, we need to create, well, the largest ball tag. So largest ball. We also need to create a large ball tag because that's the next ball. Large ball. We're also going to have a medium ball. We are going to have a small ball also. So let me just filter or create that tag. So small ball. And lastly, we are going to have the smallest ball. This is the largest ball, so simply tag it as the largest ball. And what we need to do is we need to go back here in our prefabs and save it as a prefab. We need to do the same thing for our players, so simply save it as a prefab. What is a prefab? Well, it's a reusable game object. So practically we can delete our ball now from the scene and I can simply drag and drop it here and we have the same ball. If we make any changes, so for example, if I change the mass of the ball, we can hit here apply in this inspector panel. That will make the changes to our prefab also, but we are going to return it to 1. So simply hit apply. Now, in order to create another prefab out of this, we are simply going to set the size on the scale at 0.6, 0.6. So this is our large ball. And here I'm also going to rename it to large ball in the inspector panel. Drag and drop it, and this is going to create a prefab out of it. And now we need a medium ball. So we are going to set at 0.4, 0.4. This is the medium ball. And here I'm also going to rename it in the inspector panel to medium ball practically. Drag and drop it here in the prefabs folder to save it. And each time we do this, this is going to resave, well, a new prefab. We also need the small ball that's going to be at 0.2, 0.2. And I'm going to rename it here again to small ball like this. Drag and drop it to create a prefab. And lastly, we need the smallest ball, which is going to be at 0.1, 0.1. And here I'm going to name it the smallest ball. So practically what we are doing here is we are simply scaling, well, our ball on the X and on the Y. So we see here that if we scale it, it grows. If we scale it down, it shrinks. So on and so forth. But practically you can, well, resize the ball that way. And now we have the smallest ball, we have the small ball, the medium, and let me just drag the large and the largest ball. And if we go here, this is what we have regarding our balls. So simply tweak here the scale on the X and on the Y, and you can resize those balls practically. And we have saved everything as a prefab, so we have our balls as a prefab saved, and I'm going to simply drag and drop our largest ball. So we cannot drag it here in the game scene, we can drag it in the scene view, not in the game view. Practically this is what we have. If we run the game now, we have our ball falling, we have our player standing. And what we can do next is we can actually make our rocket. So here I'm going to go here in our sprites and I'm going to also drag our rocket. So simply, well, we cannot drag it in the game view, I forgot that. So drag and drop our rocket here. For the rocket, what we are going to do is we are simply going to apply a box collider to it. And we are also going to apply a rigid body to it. And we are going to set its scale at 0.5, 0.5. So this is what we have regarding our rocket. So this is our rocket. And we are going to go here in our prefabs and save our rocket as a prefab. So this is practically what we have. Next, what we can do is we can program our player running, the ball bouncing, the rocket flying, so on and so forth. So we have done everything, all of the initial setups that we need. We have our balls, we have our players. So practically we are simply resizing the scale on the X and on the Y for our balls. And that's how we are creating them. Don't forget to tag them. So pause the video where I'm creating these tags. So we have the largest ball, and in order to tag them, simply click on the tag right here and click on add tag, and you can see which tags we have. So we have largest ball, large ball, medium ball, small, and smallest ball. We can also tag here our rocket. I'm not sure if we are going to need it, but we can tag it, and I'm going to go here in prefabs, select our rocket, and for the tag simply select, well, the rocket tag. Practically again here on tags, add tag, this is the tags that we need: largest ball, large ball, medium, small, and smallest ball, and the rocket. So in the next video, we are going to add a little bit functionality to our player by creating some scripts. And here I'm going to prepare that. So I'm going to create our scripts folder. Inside of it, I'm going to create our player folder. So let me just go here, player, and here I'm going to create a player script. So not a folder again. So here I'm going to create a player script. So player script like this. And I'm going to attach it immediately on our player so that next time we can simply open it, hit apply here because we have attached the script to our player. And next time we can simply open our script and start programming. So I will see you in the next video. If you like what you see, comment, share, like, thumbs up, subscribe, share it with your friends, tell your neighbors, they maybe want to learn, well, game development. Anyway, I will see you in the next video.